Good afternoon. This is Michael Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates, coming to you on Labor Day, September 5th, 2022 at about 4:30 p.m. as I'm shooting this video. It's probably going to be closer to 5 by the time you get it. I'm going to go ahead and upload this not only to the Patreon, but also to YouTube and to Facebook. It's just going to be a free video. A couple of things I want to cover, and I'm going to also cover the 7-day forecast. So, as always, I want to thank our sponsors, our Patreon patrons. And again, if you're not a patron on Patreon, and I have not had any new ones for a few days, but we're slowly building. If you're not on Patreon, definitely follow the link that I'll post and go there, become a patron for $3 or $10 or $20 per month and get some extra content beyond what goes onto the social media pages. And of course, the same thing applies to those of you who are subscribers through the Madison County Weather Updates website, or through the various means that we have posted in the pinned post, and also will be in the text of this update. So what's promoting part of this video is a little bit of informational stuff. But first I want to go back to the slide that you're seeing right now is what was on the page for a long time as a pinned post on the Facebook page. And it's just letting you know, and this information is also on the Facebook page info. I got a message this afternoon on my personal DM asking me if I'm a meteorologist, and having a little something to say about a post I made earlier. And I just want to make sure that people understand the mechanics of how cloud cover affects our temperatures and stuff. But at any rate, I just want to make sure that to reiterate what I've always been transparent about. I am not a degreed meteorologist, but I have studied this stuff for 40 years. So do I know everything? Absolutely not. Nobody does, but I am very well versed in the meteorology, and in a lot of ways in the climatology as well, because climatology kind of affects how meteorology functions, and meteorology, of course, builds up what becomes your climatology. But at any rate, I just wanted to make it clear that it was in my pinned post for probably a year and a half before I put the current pinned post with donation information. But I'm a very well-versed amateur. Kristen, who is my co-admin, she is a degreed meteorologist through Oklahoma University. So, we're not just talking out of our behinds on this page. But at any rate, I provide a lot of information. I always read the text of my posts very well, pay attention to the things that I say on some of these videos very well. Most of you do that very well, and I can't thank you enough. And again, if you're somebody if a degree is what you have to have in order to believe a forecaster, I can totally understand that. Go check out my friends at bamwx.com. They'll be happy to help you. It will not be free. If you want free weather, this is the only place you're getting hyper local free weather for Madison County. And I ask for donations, ask for subscriptions to help keep this page going, but as a whole, it is free. If you need hyperlocal stuff and you want a degreed meteorologist, again, go talk to my friends at bamwx.com. And again, I noted, as I'm circled here on this screenshot, that I also mentioned in the about information on the page that I am a very well-versed amateur with stars on either side of amateur. So I just want to make it clear, I've been very upfront that I am not a degreed meteorologist, but I very much understand what's going on. Kind of what prompted the message that I got today was earlier today I posted an image from Radar Omega, kind of showing what the rainfall had been over the course of the weekend, and kind of showing Madison County sitting right on the edge. We just barely missed getting some precipitation Saturday, as some in far southern Madison County got a little bit. But I was talking about that, and in that post I mentioned that the precipitation failed for Madison County again this weekend, but clouds also kept the heat away. And that part right there, clouds also kept the heat away, is what precipitated the message that I got. And so, I'm not going to name anybody because I could just be taking it wrong, but it's, so I'm going to answer this question just to explain kind of the mechanics. But the person basically asked me if I was a meteorologist because clouds keep the heat in. Just saying. That was the message I got. So here's the deal with how cloud cover functions in meteorology and long-term in climatology. And I went and I did send this in the message. So this is from the University of Illinois, so that it's coming from a reputable source. The effects of cloud cover on forecasted temperatures. A very simple slide up here that let me turn something on here real quick. Maybe. Okay. So we can see in the slide up here, it's talking about if the skies are clear, the sun's radiation is able to come all the way through and reach the Earth's surface, and so it heats the surface better. So it says during the day, the Earth is heated by the sun. If skies are clear, more heat reaches the Earth's surface, as in the diagram below. This leads to warmer temperatures. However, if skies are cloudy, some of the sun's rays are reflected off the cloud droplets back into space. Therefore, less of the sun's energy is able to reach the Earth's surface, which causes the Earth to heat up more slowly. This leads to cooler temperatures. So during the day, cloud cover does not keep heat in. It keeps heat out. You move on to the next slide, then we get into where the cloud cover does keep heat in, and that's at night. So again, we got to do little graphics here. It says, when forecasting daytime temperatures, if cloudy skies are expected, forecast lower temperatures than you would predict if clear skies were expected. Again, pointing out the fact that clouds do not keep in daytime heat, they keep it out. At night, cloud cover has the opposite effect. If skies are clear, heat is emitted from the Earth's surface, or heat emitted from the Earth's surface freely escapes into space, resulting in cooler temperatures. That's if there's no cloud cover. However, if clouds are present, some of the heat emitted from the Earth's surface is trapped by the clouds and re-emitted back toward the Earth. As a result, temperatures decrease more slowly than if the skies were clear. And so again, then it's got the forecasting tip down here. When forecasting nighttime temperatures, if cloudy skies are expected, forecast warmer temperatures than you would predict if skies were clear. So I thought that was it's a good thing to point out, and I need to do more stuff like this to kind of explain some of the mechanics of how things function. I do tend to mention the effect of humidity on temperature as well, and I think I have a blog that I had posted to the madcoweather.com a while back, but explain this. Water doesn't heat very freely. It also doesn't cool very freely. So when we have high humidity, the humidity, you might have a day where if the humidity was low, we would get up to 95, 96 degrees. But when we got dew points in the 70s, that air mass, that humidity, absorbs a lot of that heat. And it takes it a while to heat that water up. So the air temperature will actually be cooler when the humidity is high, but it feels a lot worse because that high humidity stops you from being able to evaporate your sweat and cool your body. So that's why you get a heat index that's real high when the humidity is high, even though the air temperature might be lower than it would have been. If that makes any sense, I didn't prepare a slide for that. And then the same thing at nighttime. If the humidity is real high, we got dew points in the 60s or 70s, and air mass, we might have clear skies, but we've got high humidity, and that humidity is then holding the heat from the daytime, and not it takes it a long time to let that heat out of those water droplets. So on a night where we might drop into the 50s, instead temperatures will stay in the mid to upper 60s like they have the last couple of nights, where it's been real soupy at night. And between cloud cover and high humidity, our low temperatures have been warm, our high temperatures have been cool. So that's I just wanted to kind of go through that and explain how cloud cover and humidity affect the daily temperatures. Again, clouds in the day make it cooler, clear skies in the day make it warmer, clouds at night make it warmer, clouds or clear skies at night make it cooler. And of course then you got to factor in the humidity. That's the thing people don't understand sometimes too, is all the mechanics that go into meteorology. And so I just kind of wanted to touch on that. I'm going to go ahead and move on now to the 7-day forecast. And here's what I'm looking at. Again, we've just got a chance. I'll show you radar here in a minute. A very isolated chance of storms overnight tonight and early in the day tomorrow especially. But throughout the day something could pop up, and we'll have just enough humidity around and just enough instability around. Low pressure is just very slowly creeping off to the east, and that kind of upper low is kind of what has kept the cloud cover around that helped keep our temperatures out of the 90-degree range over the weekend. So we're expecting clouds to decrease by late tomorrow afternoon or maybe tomorrow evening even, depending on if that low pressure will pick its pace up or not. Isolated storms. Then we expect things to clear off a little bit, humidity to drop. So even though the high temperature high temperatures still be in the low to mid 80s Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, humidity won't be horrible on Wednesday and Thursday. Temperatures will be able to drop freely at night. So we're expecting lows in the low to mid 50s Wednesday night and Thursday night. And then kind of a quick resurgence of warm air Friday, kind of as we're just catching the tip of what I thought would be a more dominant ridge during this week. It's kind of being squeezed. I'll show you on the vapor loop here in a minute. But so we will get a quick nose up into the mid 80s maybe by Friday, with lows in the mid 60s. Then we have another front and maybe a more potent system that from this distance looks like it could deliver some stronger storms on Saturday. Again, that's a way out, and these systems have been finding ways they're either feast or famine. We get a ton or we get none, it seems like. Saturday will be right around 80 degrees again. Then behind that front is the potent front that we've been talking about for a long time, and we're expecting a couple of days, maybe even a week, with high temperatures in the 70s. Next Sunday, next Monday, we could be in the lower 70s even. Again, that's all a long way out. There's some things that we're getting into a transitional part of the year. The average highs, I would point out today, was the last day that we have an average low in the 60s. By tomorrow, the average low drops to 59. Tomorrow will be the last day with an average high in the 80s. And then on Wednesday, our average high will drop to 79. So summer's on its way out on the average, and it's kind of looking like it's on its way out. I've been expecting September to finish a little cooler than average with a couple of warm shots, and I continue to think that's the case, especially since this warm shot coming this week. I mean, these temperatures are still above average, but they're not as much above average as they could have been. So that's kind of what the 7-day forecast is looking like. I'm letting this video run a lot longer than I should have, but it is what it is. There were some things that I felt like I needed to cover. So we're going to go here and take a quick look at radar. And this is through Radar Omega. It's a great app to have. And if you buy the Radar Omega app, then there's a downloadable version for your desktop as well, which is what this is. And we can see these storms that are kind of blowing up down here in southern Indiana. They have the appearance of moving south and southwest, but really kind of when you look at them, they're really more building south and southwest, and they kind of pop up, don't really move. They rain themselves out, but they're cool air that's flowing out from them just causes the storm to kind of build to the southwest. Again, I've pointed this out before, but one of the great things about Radar Omega that sooner or later our weather will make it where this is a great tool to have is the ability to zoom in and down to street level. And if you zoom in enough, this thing will actually start showing you where buildings are. So having radar this close is a little bit iffy because radar recycles on precipitation mode, recycles every 2 minutes. So what's on here could already be past a particular place. So it's kind of iffy looking at the building level, but it's still kind of cool that you can do it. So, at any rate, we'll have some weather events sooner or later where this feature is going to come in very handy, where we're going to be able to get down to street level and show some things that are going on in Madison County. In the time I've been talking to you, we got a couple of little cells starting to pop up down here. The load that we're watching is farther up to the north, and this instability is going to hang around, and so we could see just these little very quick pop-ups over the course of the night and into the day tomorrow. Last thing here, I've blathered on enough. One over here, you can kind of see our ridge of high pressure, and it's kind of getting squeezed together. And I mentioned last week there was a chance that it could get squeezed and become more narrow and not be as strong. I really kind of thought, based on some things that happened in the Bering Sea, that it would be a little more expansive. It's not. That happens. We can see a trough of low pressure dipping down into the northeast. That's been happening for a while. But now we got one back here in the northwest as well, and that's what's putting the squeeze on this high pressure, kind of helping us avoid a week in the 90s. So back here to the Bering Sea, the trough just moved out of the area that would kind of align with where Indiana would be. Kind of puts us right back on the periphery of maybe a ridge. One of the things that happens, the Bering Sea has been very reliable during the summer. It tends to be pretty reliable during the heart of winter. But in transitional seasons, then these other drivers that get involved can make things not translate out. Today Indiana might translate here, and in a month it might translate down here. So that's kind of figuring that stuff out as the season changes makes it a little more iffy. So longer range forecasting is going to become a lot more sketchy, but it's fun. I'll still do it. So with all that said, and way too much said, this is Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. Again, please support this page. Those of you who do support it financially are the only reason it's still going. So please keep it going. The more people that donate, the better I can do some things and really start making this more fun. So this is Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. Have a great evening.